White House correspondents that are all like, would you bomb them if they touched Poland?
Would a strike in Poland on supplies or anything really automatically be met with a military forceful response, or simply a conversation amongst allies about how to respond?
There are reports that a Russian drone made its way into Polish airspace before going back to Ukraine and being shot down. Does a drone into Poland count?
Would you bomb them if they had a drone? Okay. Let's look at it this way. What would it take for you to bomb them?
Isn't it showing enough strength against Putin? If Putin were to use chemical weapons, would it change the president's thinking when it comes to these MiGs, taking the no-fly zone off the table, but at least on this issue?
What would it take for this? What if Putin got killed? What if we killed Putin? They're trapped in a business model that creates news as narratives. It's one thing to tell stories, it's another thing to direct them. But here's the thing that's fucked up in my mind. There ain't a lot of questions about peace. Let's get into it, for God's sakes. Let's bring on Margaret Sullivan, media columnist, Washington Post. Margaret Sullivan, join us, please.
Thank you. Hi, John.
Author of Ghosting the News, Local Journalism, The Crisis of American Democracy.
How do you know that stuff? Well, you know it through the mainstream media, largely, I think. I mean, you might criticize the Washington Post or the New York Times, and I do too, but ultimately they are bringing you factual information, and then they have the opinion side.
I would push back on the idea that there is this true separation, and that what I think filters into the coverage is the emotional side. They don't know the difference sometimes between a scoop and when they're being fed something, and the thing that they're being fed having a darker purpose to it.
In the media, we're bad at prediction, terrible at speculation, and yet there's so much of it.
But I would say even worse is they're bad at accountability, because
You mean like afterwards, right?
That's right. Why do you think coverage doesn't focus on understanding the economic realities of how our country is hollowed out economically?
We've become so hyper-partisan and so polarized that we tend to want our tribal instincts fed at all times. And the media, does cooperate with that.
You're covering the wrong thing. We're incentivizing politicians to become crazier, because that's what gets the attention and that's what gets the donations. And couldn't they do a model as tenaciously as they cover this? Because you said earlier, like, it's hard to cover that for cable news. And I think, why? You got nothing but time. You're on 24 hours a day.
I don't like this, but I think it's probably true, is that it would not rate well. It would be considered kind of boring. Let me go find my outrage somewhere else.
Be outraged, but at the right thing.
Yeah.
And I would disagree with you, because when you look at the lack of transparency on Wall Street and the complexity of it that is to the benefit of middlemen and to the negative of retail investors, there's plenty of outrage that doesn't exist on the right-left polarity. There's plenty of injustice, there's plenty of unfairness, there's plenty of corruption.
That's right, and that's the citizen's agenda. That is looking at things from the point of view of the people you're supposed to be serving by being a journalist. So I agree with you, and I'd like to see more of that.